Eat lunch, and by mid-afternoon you are tired, struggling to concentrate and wondering why you can't think clearly anymore. Most people blame their workload. You blame the meeting that ran long, the coffee that wore off, the week finally catching up with you. But by the time you finish lunch, your body is already deciding how you'll feel at 3 o'clock. This isn't just one bad afternoon. For millions of people, it happens almost every day at roughly the same time. And the reason has far more to do with your biology than your workload. Today, I'm going to show you 3 lunches: bad, better, and best. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to build a lunch in under 5 minutes that keeps your energy steady, your focus sharp, and your biology working with you instead of against you. I am Dr. Lucia Aronica, lecturer in epigenetics and nutrigenomics at Stanford University. My field is epinutrition, the science of how the food you eat sends instructions to your genes, shaping how well and how long you live. The problem with lunch isn't your schedule, it's your biology. Research in circadian biology shows that insulin sensitivity is naturally highest in the morning and begins declining as the day goes on. The exact same sandwich eaten at noon sends a different signal than it would at 8 in the morning. That's one of the reasons so many people experience the familiar afternoon slump. But lunch isn't only shaping how you feel over the next few hours. Every meal also sends chemical signals throughout your body that influence which genes become more or less active. That's the science of epinutrition, and it's why the lunch you eat today can affect far more than just this afternoon's energy. So let's look at 3 lunches: bad, better, and best. By the end, you'll know exactly what to put on your plate to work with your biology instead of against it. Let's start with the bad lunch. Picture a lunch that looks completely ordinary: a sandwich on white bread, deli turkey or ham, a bag of chips, and something sweet to drink. It looks harmless enough, quick and familiar, the kind of lunch you have eaten 100 times without a second thought. Here's what is happening underneath. White bread has had most of its fiber stripped away, so the starch digests fast and floods your bloodstream with glucose almost as quickly as the drink beside it. Processed deli meats are cured with nitrates, which your body can convert into nitrosamines, compounds linked to elevated colorectal cancer risk. And that white bread and chips combination, refined carbohydrates plus fat, can trigger inflammation and temporarily increase gut permeability within hours. You feel this by 3 o'clock, when the glucose crash takes your energy with it and the inflammatory response shows up as brain fog rather than hunger. The slump you have been blaming on your job may have started on your plate at noon. And this isn't just a lunchtime problem. Strip the fiber out of any carb and your body doesn't care what time is it. It's just that lunch has a lot less margin of error than breakfast does. Now, the better lunch. A step up looks like this: a whole grain wrap with grilled chicken or hummus, a side salad, and a scoop of rice or quinoa you cooked the night before and kept in the fridge. Better fiber, better protein, and one detail almost nobody realizes is doing quiet work. That rice is no longer the same food it was when it left the pot. As starch cools, part of it recrystallizes into a form your small intestine cannot break down, called resistant starch. It survives digestion until it reaches your colon, where gut bacteria ferment it into short-chain fatty acids, postbiotic epinutrients that speak directly to your immune genes. Think of it as a time-release capsule your gut bacteria have been waiting for. Italians have been doing this by instinct for generations. Arancini, those fried rice balls from Sicily my mom used to cook when I was a child, were invented to use up yesterday's cooled risotto. That slow-release capsule is exactly what you feel next. Less a sensation and more an absence of one. A smoother afternoon with none of the sharp rise and fall a fresh bowl of the same rice would have caused. Cooking your grains the night before costs nothing extra. The change is timing. Cook once, cool before you eat. But this lunch still leans heavily on one shade of the plate, mostly beige and green, protein and starch, almost no color, and whole grain on the wrap doesn't mean a gentler blood sugar spike. Some whole grain breads test just as high on the glycemic index as white, sometimes even higher. What whole grain actually buys you is the fiber and epinutrients white bread already lost. The fiber is doing its job. The color still is not. And so we move to the best lunch. The best lunch follows one template: protein, healthy fat, color, and something fermented. In practice, 3 variations, and none of them require a stove at lunchtime if you prep once. Variation A: a big bowl of mixed greens, roasted red pepper and eggplant, a scoop of the resistant starch grain you already cooled, and either grilled chicken or chickpeas for plant-based eaters, dressed in extra virgin olive oil and lemon. Bonus tip: swap white rice with a colored variety like black or red rice. They provide anthocyanins, the same epinutrients that give blueberries their colors and turn on your antioxidant genes. Variation B: swap the chicken for canned mackerel, salmon, or sardines, or add a spoon of algal oil if you are plant-based. This is where your lunch finally gets its EPA and DHA, the anti-inflammatory omega-3s, a beige wrap, never delivered. One warning about the can itself: BPA is a chemical used to line most cans, and it can interfere with your hormone signaling. Even cans labeled BPA-free often just swap it for a close cousin that can be just as disruptive. My secret trick: never eat straight from the can. Rinse the fish in water first, then season it yourself with the good extra virgin olive oil. I show you exactly which one to buy in this video linked here. Variation C: finish with 2 tablespoons of plain yogurt or kefir stirred into the dressing, or a side of sauerkraut or kimchi if you skip dairy. The live cultures add another wave of postbiotic signaling on the top of what your cooled grains are already producing. And here's an upgrade for spice lovers like myself. Add a teaspoon of turmeric to your dressing. That turmeric is not a decoration. Curcumin, the epibioactive compound at its center, switches on NRF2, the same master regulator of cellular defense that broccoli activates through sulforaphane. On its own, your body absorbs almost none of it. Add a crack of black pepper and a source of fat, and the absorption increases by up to 2000%. The olive oil in your dressing is not just flavor, it's the key that lets curcumin through the door. Put together, this lunch is not any more expensive or more time-consuming than the sandwich. It is differently assembled. Roast a tray of vegetables on Sunday. Cool your grains once, and lunch becomes 5 minutes of arranging what is already in your fridge. By early afternoon, the difference is not subtle. Steady energy instead of a crash. Clear focus instead of fog. And a plate that spoke to your genes in color instead of beige. You now know how to turn lunch from your afternoon's biggest liability into one of its strongest signals. But breakfast, dinner, and every snack in between are still having their own conversation with your genes. I put together a free guide, Top 5 Kitchen Hacks to Unlock Your Food's Epigenetic Superpowers. Link is in the description. And if you enjoyed this video, you'll love this one right here. Ciao!